Oh, g'day Main Roads. I'm down here at the corner of Beach Street and Canning Highway, and I'm wondering if someone could tell me which way these signs in front of me are supposed to be pointing. Now, these are just made out of core flute and they're very flimsily held on by two cable ties that have been attached to each other, like the thinnest, weakest ties you can imagine. And they couldn't be bothered going and getting ones that had enough length to go around the pole in one go. So they've simply attached two short cable ties to each other and snip the ends off. At least up at the next set of traffic lights they've used the correct sort of metal strapping for putting these on, but for some reason at these lights maybe they ran out of metal straps and they just used cable ties instead, but it's been like this for months and months and months. Alright, let's just have a look at this sign up here. Oh, look at that. Now for some reason this sign is pointing across the road there at the port when it should be pointing presumably either straight up the road that way or back the way I just came. It certainly shouldn't be facing that way because there is in fact no crossing here. You can see there's no push button on that pole to get you across. So because they've used cable ties instead of the metal fixings or metal straps, every time the wind blows these things spin around like a windmill, and instead of coming back and doing the job properly they've just left them like this. Right. So at least that bottom sign is pointing in the right direction, and I'm going to go across the road here and have a look at these other signs over there. It's also been vandalised a bit. Now on the other side of the road here, I got one sign telling me to go straight ahead and one sign telling me to turn left. Okay, which one am I going to do? Should I toss a coin as to which way I'm supposed to be going? I know I'm supposed to be going straight ahead, so I'm going to do that. But again, I've just used cable ties and those things are just spinning around rather uselessly. Now there's also another bunch of signs at this intersection. There's one over there on that grey pole, there's one there on pole number 4, I guess. In fact, there's a couple there, and again they've just used cable ties instead of the metal straps. Now, there used to be on this pole next to the box here, what's that, pole number 7 I think, there used to be a sign telling me to go straight ahead here across at the lights, and I know the date it disappeared and I know how it disappeared, and I'll put that up because I'm the person at fault. I tried turning it around because it was facing edge on. I tried turning it and the cable ties snapped or popped off. That's how I know they've used completely pathetic and inappropriate cable ties for this job. And I've put the sign over there behind me, expecting that, you know, the next daily inspection they'd find the sign and they'd fix it properly. But instead it sat there for 5 or 6 days and then disappeared. It either blew away in a storm or someone saw it and binned it. But it has not been replaced. So that's telling me that no one's doing regular inspections, like daily inspections at a minimum, to make sure the signage is clean, visible, pointing in the right direction, you know, doing what signage is supposed to do and telling you where you're supposed to be going. So the upshot of this, 3 asks. 1, you get the contractors to do daily inspections of the signage like they should be doing. You know, you've got a template for them to follow. They should be following that for the pedestrian and signage cyclists, just like they should be doing it for the cyclists, the signage aimed at drivers too. Get them to replace all those useless cable ties with metal straps, and you should know what I'm talking about. They're the same metal straps used on all the signage around here. And 3, where there's missing signage, and there is in fact missing signage all the way from North Fremantle Station down to here, get them to replace it because it's been missing for quite some time. And if you have to do a road safety audit or a signage audit to figure out what's missing, then please do so. Now, what I'm concerned about is this signage in front of me. So you can see we've got one arrow at the bottom telling us to turn right and one at the top telling us to turn left. And I think what's happened here is that sign that's up top should have been like that onto me, and somehow it's been spun around. So this is an issue with them using cable ties to put these signs on rather than the metal strips that they've used back up at the other corner. And if we look across at the pole on that side. So the sign is now essentially edge onto me. It should in fact be spun around so that if I'm coming from the other direction, the arrow is facing me. So when I go to cross the road here, I am just going to turn that through 90 degrees and put it back where it should be. Which sign here is the wrong way around? Right, I've just spun the top sign around so that when I'm coming from the other direction, it's going to be pointing the right way. And the interesting thing is that was really, really easy to turn. Watch this. See? It just, could have done it with my little finger. Those cable ties just don't grip the paint on the pole and just allows the sign to essentially windmill around when there's any breeze, I guess. Or if somebody like me comes along and decides to be a little bit silly with the signage. Okay, I'm just going to turn this one around and we can look at it on the way back. Oh, guess what? I just snapped it off by accident because the cable ties are completely rooted. Oh, that was a mistake. And I don't think I've got any cable ties in the back. Damn it. Okay, I'll have to report that one. Well, I guess that's another problem with using cable ties rather than metal straps. Although, of course, I could just leave it like that and see if the daily inspections pick that up and how long it takes them to put that sign back up properly. After all this happened, I searched the Main Roads website and found a document called Specification 601 that covers signs. It's been around since 2014. On page 8, the first paragraph under the scope says, "The work under this specification consists of the requirements for the manufacture, delivery, installation and maintenance of all regulatory, warning, guide, direction, reassurance, temporary works, hazard marker, service and tourist signs, sign supports and associated fixings." Annexure 601E covers pages 48 and 49 and it lists all the approved sign fixings. It mentions buckles, bands, bolts and brackets. I searched the entire document for zip ties and cable ties and didn't get a single hit. So that begs the question, why are Main Roads allowing the traffic managers on this project to use unapproved materials and fixing techniques for the temporary signage?